But I want to give you a list of what God intended and designed as our divine teacher. Let's go into class. Let's say we're starting class. I will always remember, I love telling this story. I always remember my first day at Michigan State University. Remember, I grew up in a Christian home, went to church since before I was born. Was taught to read the Bible and memorize and everything else. And I went off to Michigan State, had a scholarship, and I was going to really study. And I remember my professor came in. This is my first class, and there are 500 students in it. And he had his cigarette between these two fingers, not where I don't know how you usually do it, but he had it down here. And he was wearing shorts, and they were so short, but you could see his rear end, and they had slits up them. And he had his shirt open down to his navel, and he had a great big one of those fertility signs there on a gold chain, big hairy chest. This is how we started class. 500 of us, and I'd never seen anything like this. And in the middle of class, he flicks the burning cigarette onto the floor of this brand new classroom and walks over and grinds it into the floor with his heel. And he says, we're going to study in this class the mythology of the Bible. That's how class started for me. There was a man that had no foundation, that had no morals, no scruples. He would brag about how drunk he was and how wicked he was. He would talk about the shorts, by the way, had bunnies on them, Playboy bunnies. He noted what he was, his life. And a lot of times he came to class so inebriated that his graduate assistant had to take over the class because he couldn't stand up. This is I don't know how many, 50,000 students at Michigan State, 60,000, one of the larger universities in the country. That's the condition of the people teaching. And I remember sitting through that, and I thought about the fact that he was the most undivine teacher I'd ever had. And I sat through there, and I did all my work, and one time I even raised my hand and brought a question, and everyone was shocked, and 30 kids came to me afterward, and we started a Bible study because I mentioned something about the Lord, and they were looking for an alternative to this guy. But what I thought about was, you and I have the opportunity every day to sit in front of the divine teacher. He is not wearing that stuff. He is the infinite, eternal God, and he says, I want to teach you something. And let me read to you what he wants to teach us. He wants to teach us about regeneration, how we can be made alive, how he can illumine us, how he can sanctify us, how he can increase our faith, how he can give us hope, how we can increase in obedience, how our heart can get cleaned out so that it's not full of evil, how we can grow in graciousness, how we can be admonished to correct us, how we can be comforted, how we can rejoice always in our hearts. That's the dozen things he wants us to do. Number one, in Psalm 119, verse 50, our teacher, the Lord himself, comes to class, and he says to us, and this morning to you, he says, are you letting my word quicken you? Probably you don't doubt this morning it can do it. Are you letting it? Are you letting God's word quicken you? What do you mean quicken you? Are you letting God's word make you so full of life? I used to minister to the 864 senior saints at Grace Community Church. That's how many were in my class when I started, and they started dying one a week. When you have 864 seniors, every week one of them died, at least one. And I used to be there. I used to witness their deaths. Sometimes I was the first one there, or I was with them when they died. Because a lot of them were older in the old school, and they died at home. And they would call me in, and I would read and pray, and we'd stand around the bed, and it's just an amazing thing to see a saint die. I could tell you stories about what happened. But you know what I saw in those people? Those people were full of life. By and large. I don't mean to generalize, but most saints who are walking in the Spirit have an extraordinary life to them, even though their body is falling apart. Even though they've lost a lot of their functions, even though they're immobilized, or even though they don't have all the comforts of youth, there is a vibrancy to them. You know what? That's Psalm 119, verse 50. And that is, this is my comfort, my affliction. Your word quickens me. Your word, the New King James said, has given me life. What did Christ say? I'm come to give you life. Not that you just barely make it, but that you have life, what? Abundant. And God's asking this morning, is my word giving you abundant life this morning? Have you partaken of that? Are you letting his word give you abundant life? 130 of Psalm 119, back up there. Here's another question from our instructor. First day of class, he says, is my word illuminating your path? Look at 130. It says, the entrance of thy words giveth light. It giveth understanding to the simple. Now, I'll tell you, God's schoolroom has a very low door. You have to humble yourself to come in. In fact, I shared Wednesday night a study of the book of Obadiah, and the theme of Obadiah is the deadliness of pride. And I tell you what, you don't get anywhere in God's classroom if you come erect and doing your own thing. You've got to humble yourself and come through that low door that's at the foot of the cross. And it's a door of humility. It's a door of contrition. And the Lord said, if you'll humble yourself in my sight, I'll lift you up. And how does he lift us up? In Psalm 119, in verse 130, he said, when my word enters into your life, I will give you light. I will give you understanding. We'll know. We'll be aware of the times and what God is doing. Such a blessed promise.